All right, Jesse got the transmission turned around for us. Thank you so much, Jesse. And if anyone needs good transmission work in Utah, Jesse's the one to call. Without him, my car would not be going right now. Thank you so much, and enjoying the video, everyone.
Oh, 4,000 RPM, 55. Woohoo! She is rolling. Got the transmission back from rebuild. Talon's back in position on the lift. Got a bunch of stuff to clean up in the back. Gonna get going on that, but it's just a little dingy. Trunk is cleared out. I like to line things up so I don't get too far ahead of myself and do something where I'm gonna have to take something off. I've got a little bit of cleaning left on this clutch fork. Get those pivot balls ready for some grease, and we've got that throwout bearing. Everything in the engine bay's kind of moved out where it needs to go. We've got some hardware like our starter bolts, some transmission to block, and then the last little bits over here on this side. An example, if I bolt on this transfer case, it's going to be hard to put this dust shield on for the clutch. So everything's accounted for, just have to do a little bit of cleaning, and this is the last little bits right here on the exhaust. Got the wire clip, got to be careful with this, you don't get this in a clutch rebuild. Old throwout bearing and set it aside. Just like to make a fresh home for the grease. You could get crazy and repaint this, do all sorts of stuff on your new to you car, but I'm still making sure this thing is gonna run and do what I want it to do. But the mechanical bits right here, this is really important to me. Little contact points, that's where I'm putting the grease. Let me go ahead and put some in there, and front side. It's gonna make the clutch pedal feel really smooth. Right side up like this. Take our special little clip. Voila, let's go put it in the transmission. So there's a couple things you'd want to do on the gearbox when you go to install it, clean things up. First, you want to inspect the sleeve the throwout bearing goes. I'm gonna clean mine up with a little bit of Brillo pad. It's in good shape. There's that pivot ball. I'm gonna reuse it. Doesn't look too bad. But then this transmission's pretty clean, but any dirt and debris you want to get out of here so it doesn't get in your new clutch. Some more grease in the important spots. Just do it in the bushing. So this is that pivot ball where we greased up on the middle of the fork. You're just gonna dive your boot in. This is actually in backwards. Turn this around. So I'm gonna put my grommet in first. Dust boot there. That is in there. Going to slip that through the dust boot. Then throwout bearing on first. Then the clutch fork. They usually snap in. This one's pretty old. Should I mess with it? Should I mess with it? Ah, push the clip from behind. Did you see that with the screwdriver? Now it's held in place. Gonna take that extra grease right there for input on the clutch. Got some puppy fur, and voila, we've got our clutch fork. So trans is prepped. Let's move on to the clutch. Over here to our clutch kit. One of the really important things is, for me anyways, is a little bit of Loctite on the threads of the flywheel bolts. Because one time I had them come loose and I thought it was rod knock. And that was a sad day. But very happy after I realized it was just loose flywheel. All right, let's get the 7-bolt flywheel on. Ugh. So I went ahead, I already had cleaned all the threads out on the crank side. I know it looks like a mess. I should take care of this, but I feel like I'm gonna be taking the engine out and redoing a lot of stuff if I like the car. So you're gonna wanna make sure that you have the dowel in the crank. If you've never done this before and you're wanting to put your car back together the best you can, I'm gonna line that dowel up. If I could see, let's do that. 2, 2, 3, 2, 3. What are you doing, Casey? Let's move the light so I can see what I'm doing. Okay. So I was hopeful that this car had a 6-bolt in it, but it doesn't. I did check for crank walk when I bought the car only by pushing the clutch in while it was running. Everything seems pretty stellar though. All right, let me grab a torque wrench. Here's a little trick if you're torquing it by yourself. Breaker bar sitting on the ground. It is going to tighten that crank bolt a little bit more though. Let's get this thing torqued up. 100 foot-pounds. Something else to talk about is your flywheel step when you get it machined. It's going to be from your pressure plate step to the flywheel surface, and it's supposed to be 0.610. Next step's going to be clutch disc with our guide. Let's make sure it fits our splines on the trans. It does, but that's snug. We can come in here with that. Make sure you have the bulk of it sticking out so it can reach the input shaft on the trans. This pressure plate has some bulges that you have to put in the correct spot. You don't want to get it mixed up in our grooves right here. You want to make sure it ends up over here in this deep valley. Gonna get all this 12 mil hardware in and torque to 16 foot-pounds, I think. Tightening the pressure plate down in a circular pattern will help you keep the pressure plate from warping. This is where you slow down and use a hand tool. And this is a basic Rhino clutch kit. It's been sitting on the shelf for 6 years. Paid $125 for it. Pretty happy about that. Need some more leverage. It's getting tighter. That one doesn't feel good. It might be though, because this one's going a lot. Wait a second. So I'm hand tightening those with the wrench like you just saw because I don't want to snap them with the torque wrench. I've done that before, and we're right there. So we're gonna call that clutch installed. We are ready for install. Couple things to note when you're doing a job like this. That's where a dowel pin goes. That's where a dowel pin goes to the block. That's our transfer case dowel pin. That's a nice important one. Another one right there. But up here, there's dowel pin. There's the other dowel pin. These are the hollow ones where the main bolts go through. Those are very important or you can break some stuff. Let me get you back on the tripod. You can watch me put this thing in. I've had about 3 or 4 attempts at practice putting this thing in. The trans jack wasn't high enough, so I had to lower the car down a little bit. Really close. She's in. Wow. So wetty. Time for everything else. I'm gonna get this CV axle out first. All right, so where were we last clip? Where were we? So we have all the bell housing bolts in. I've got the slave hooked up, a couple of these braces, and did some work on the driveline here. We had some scarring, did some sanding, cleaned it up, and I'm ready to throw the transfer case up on there. Also have that dust shield on already. Got 3 big bolts on the front here, 2 on the back, got 1 on the bottom, the same length. Usually the threads are pulled on this one. Our top one. Doesn't feel like we can get a socket under that. Try right now. I got it. All right. Buzz these big boys in. Okay, transfer case is in. We're gonna pop in the CV axle. Hopefully you guys can see that. No, you can't see that. Got 2 bolts. Go to the bracket, the back of the block. That doesn't work. All right. I could probably put the exhaust on too. That's gonna be hard by myself. Oh, we got 2 gaskets? What's going on here? That's weird. Where did this gasket come from? Let's see if we can one-man this. This exhaust is heavy. I already dropped it once. Woo, please stay. Fucked it up. Oh my God. I'm gonna get the rest of the boring exhaust buttoned up. Just have to finish putting this axle in and then bolt up this shock. So, axle in a little bit more. Oh my goodness. There we go. Got 1, 2. Get some nuts. Oh. Still loose. We'll roll around with the Evo 10s for a little bit. I found some stock 92 Talon wheels for it. Well, 93. You get what I'm saying? Found some stock wheels. That's the tie rod end right there. And then the lower ball joint's pretty bad too. That is the lower too. We got more work to do on the wheelhouses. So this is the side that was a real big pain. How rusted. It's all rust in there. It's all corrosion. I got some new shock absorbers though. Don't mind me beating up the brake line right there. So I had to have this axle rebuilt. It's nice and fresh. I'm gonna get some grease on that clip. I gotta come in from this way. Oh, she's in. Same problem as the other side though. Go, a little bit of a pickle. Just some grease. Pick. Sorry guys. I gotta go find a nut. This side will be done. So there's just a couple more things left up in the engine bay. Got the shifter cables to bolt in, the transmission bracket. I'm gonna get started with this right now. This one just, it's in place. Got these 4 14 millimeters that come in through the fender well over here. See if I can get them without dropping them. There's 4 grommets that go on the side of the fender well. They're plastic plugs, actually. This is the one. Let's get these shifter cable bracket. Kind of tucks up. Nice and snug. I wish I had a shifter bushing. I have to get some skateboard bearings, I heard. The only thing that's left is the air box and the intercooler piping. Let me get that done up in a time lapse. You guys into that? So I just have 2 things left to do on the car. I have the gear oil for the transfer case and the transmission, and then some shifter bushings. That's the last thing I need up top, and then I can take it for a test drive. I'm gonna get this fluid in the car real quick though. Perfect timing. There we go, gear oil in. I have it all done. No more microphone. Gonna start it up and let y'all hear it. Whew, so excited. First start for the Talon. Oh, we have a clutch pedal. It works. I forgot to check. Here we go. Okay, car's off the lift. I'm gonna take it around the building and see how its first lap is.
go for a ride.
All right, let's go. She sounds a little rusty. Need some air in the tires. Oh wow, look at that, you guys. Okie dokie. 20. 30. Oh. 4,000 RPM. 55. Woohoo! She is rolling. And the brakes work. Thank goodness. I'm excited for all the suspension stuff that I'm gonna do to the car next. So, test drive complete. Yeah, there's a bunch of other things that I need to do to this thing, and suspension is one of them. I think that's gonna be the next project. This is pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about this. Suspension next. Okay. Next video, suspension on the Talon. See you guys. Have a good night. Thank you so much.